And Dusty says, where do you get all this? German suplex, mafia kick? He kicked it with the bottom of a 12.5 right in the middle of the mush. Ain't got nothing to do with the mafia. Hell, what you talking about?
It starts out as New Japan versus WCW. And then by the end of the night, it's USA versus Japan.
She grabs the microphone.
Listen here a minute, Hop Sing. This ain't no Japanese bathhouse. I ain't no geisha girl. And if this sport is just for men, just one thing I want to know. What are you doing here?
Can WCW come back from this?
I don't know. Starrcade 1995. This was, I guess, an interpromotional pay-per-view between WCW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it was booked as the Wrestling World Cup. So there's 7 matches between a WCW opponent and a New Japan Pro Wrestling opponent.
It seemed like they still didn't understand the rule. They said it was a best of 7, but you're guaranteed to get 7 matches either way. So it's not a best of 7.
So Heenan, Schiavone, and Dusty kick off the show. Dusty pimps Starrcade in the triple threat match. Heenan says Savage is all kinds of fucked for having injured his arm and back. And the pay-per-view is, like I said, billed as the World Cup of Wrestling. Yeah, this kind of made me think, Bischoff, what are you thinking?
You didn't like the concept? I actually thought it was a good concept.
Maybe for like a Sturgis. This is supposed to be their WrestleMania.
Well, it definitely didn't feel like their WrestleMania, I will say
exactly. That. You had a whole bunch of WCW people versus Japanese people you don't know.
Some of them, yeah. I mean, they were good matches. I'll give them that.
Absolutely.
But I did like the concept outside of it being at Starrcade.
Yeah, that was my issue with it. As soon as I heard the concept, I don't hate it. It's just I want something grand. Especially later on when they previewed Super Brawl. Like, don't tune into Super Brawl when all the stars are coming back.
Well, Hogan was suspended.
Yeah, he was. I don't know. So you can do a movie.
Well, that plays into us not watching the weekly television. We don't know why on TV why he was suspended.
It's true.
I was thinking, man, Hogan would have been good for this whole World Cup thing, I guess.
How's that? Oh, because the America.
He's like thing? Mr. America. Yeah. Or Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He could have been in there. He's still around. Funny thing about this whole thing, it starts out as New Japan versus WCW. And then by the end of the night, it's USA versus Japan. Like somehow it switched into USA versus Japan.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be WCW as it started out in the night.
Especially when Alex Wright, Mr. Berlin.
Who's not American.
Yeah. Comes out with his American flag shirt on.
Yeah.
Dancing to Born in the USA.
Yeah, a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they switched it so seamlessly. It's like they forgot the original thing.
No, I think that was the plan all along. Because Eddie Guerrero was the second match, and he was like, "This is for America."
But it was supposed to be for WCW.
I know.
Like even Heenan and Schiavone, and they're talking to each other. He's like, "Are you going for them? Last time I checked, your check still said WCW on it."
Yeah,
so it really started off as WCW versus New Japan.
Yeah. Well, Heenan seemed like he got the concept.
Yeah.
Well, the first match of the evening was Chris Benoit versus Jushin Thunder Liger. And Benoit has joined the Horsemen by this point. And it was so cool hearing Dusty and Heenan do commentary.
Yeah. Dusty with his Texas charm or Southern charm.
He got my rickamachar.
Yeah.
I was filibustering.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was saying half the night.
Yeah, right?
But it was entertaining.
Well, the crowd was very anti-Liger. Benoit was really fun to watch. Like, the way he would do little things, like a simple kick, was just great. Sullivan came out. He acts like he's going to the ring, but then Jimmy Hart holds him back. And then Jushin hits the worst Frankenstein I've ever seen for the win.
Yeah, it was super botched.
Yeah.
But
that was the only bad spot of the match, I think.
Yeah, it was a pretty good match. I said a few weeks ago I wasn't going to watch Benoit matches, but I did also mention that this one was coming up, so I knew I was going to have to watch it. So,
Oh, there's gonna be more too.
but this ties into, remember during this SmackDown review. If you want to go watch SmackDown review, it's on our channel. So I was saying they should bring back the cruiserweight division. This went into it. This was like a cruiserweight special.
Yeah.
But WCW is about to be all cruiserweight, so that's gonna be okay.
Just about, except for the main event.
Yeah.
Well, after that, we have Eddie Guerrero backstage, and Eddie is about as white meat as you can be right now. He's even got his little pencil-thin mustache. He's got his mullet and Evel Knievel jumpsuit thing.
Yeah, he has his mullet, but it's not over the top yet.
No.
It's a tame mullet.
He's got some time to go.
Yeah.
He said he's proud to be in one of the 7 matches, and he respects his opponent. And it's kind of cool that they let him talk, I thought. I feel like a lot of promos like in this era seem to be cut short, but letting him talk a little bit was kind of neat to see. Especially, since he's no longer with us.
Right.
And yep, New Japan is up 1. So the next match of the evening is Koji Kanemoto versus Alex Wright. I thought it was a fun match to watch. Alex Wright does like the best standing head scissors I've ever seen.
Yeah, again, this was just another good match.
Yep. I liked how arrogant Kanemoto was.
He hit one of my favorite suplexes. He hit a dragon suplex with a bridge. That's one of my favorites. That one, and then the tiger suplex, or the full Nelson suplex. I like those two. When you hold the bridge too.
Yep.
You don't see those nowadays.
You see the suplex, but not the bridge.
Yeah.
Well, Kanemoto, he snake eyes right into the turnbuckle, and then he rolls him up for the win. So New Japan is 2, WCW is 0.
Can WCW come back from this?
I don't know.
But as Heenan said, even though he was Team Japan at this point, I mean, Team New Japan Wrestling, not just Japan. And he said, we got our aces coming up. And boy, did they.
So Mean Gene's backstage again, or still, and he's interviewing Sonny Ono after he promotes the WCW hotline, of course.
Talking about a major signing or something. Someone's getting a major deal, is what he said. Call the hotline to find out who that is.
So Ono says soon it'll be 5-0. And Okerlund says if WCW gets to 0-4, then we're closing up shop. It's not even worth going to the 5th match. Ono says, well, if that happens, maybe he'll buy WCW and Iowa. Okerlund says WCW isn't for sale. Ono says everything's for sale in America. And Ono alludes to having people in the Dungeon of Doom. I guess a spy of some sort. But
I don't know. He was out there for pretty much the whole show.
Yeah. I just don't know why you would want to buy Iowa. So the next match is Lex Luger with Jimmy Hart. And he is wrestling Masahiro Chono. This is all right. Just a match.
Luger to the first 2.
No. I'm starting to really buy into Luger. But this was not his best performance. One thing I like about Luger is, you know how traditionally they'll lock up and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, Luger will like kind of sidestep it into a kick, which is kind of unique, at least for what we're watching.
Yeah. I noticed now he's integrated his chest tit jump thing.
Yes.
So the whole little backstage segment, he's pumping his tits.
Yeah. So Luger won this match with the torture rack. The best part of the match was the commentary, especially when Dusty and Heenan were shitting on Tony for knowing what the Mafia kick was. Tony said, oh, there's that Mafia kick. And Dusty says, where do you get all this? German suplex, Mafia kick? He kicked it with the bottom of a 12.5 right in the middle of the mush. Ain't got nothing to do with the Mafia. Hell, what you talking about? And Bobby's like, Tony, he kicked the man in the head. And Dusty said, he caught him with the Sicilian elbow. And Bobby says, right around the Yugoslavian neckbreaker. He kicked the man in the head, Shivani. He kicked his Bosnian butt. So it's New Japan 2 and WCW is 1. So they're coming back. And
yeah, they needed Luger. Little note here. During the Luger match, there's this dude, he was wearing a Lions Barry Sanders jersey. And I just thought that was funny that here we are, 1995, Barry Sanders on the Lions. They were good then. Fast forward to 2023, and the Lions are good once again. So I just thought that was funny.
I thought they weren't good anymore because they lost a game.
Well, they did lose one game, and it was a pretty bad loss. But I think they're still revered as one of the better teams in the league still. And now if they lose this week, same old Lions, as they will say.
And we're backstage with Mean Gene again. He's with Sting. Sting is glad WCW finally won, and he's rooting for Johnny B. Bad. And Mean Gene's like, "Oh, I want to talk about your match." No. Just Johnny B. Bad's gonna be great. He's awesome. Fuck me. Johnny B. Bad's the match you want to see. So Mean Gene, he brings up Sting's match with Kensuke Sasaki for the U.S. title, and Sting lost. And Sting goes, "Whoa!" And Mean Gene ignores that and continues talking. And Sting, to his credit, he ignores Mean Gene and he goes, "Wow!" Just very out of place. Sting shouts that the title isn't up for grabs tonight, but pride is. American pride.
And there we go. We have switched from New Japan versus WCW to now straight up.
I added the American pride part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got it too, but
yeah. Sonny Ono is buying WCW over his dead body. And then Mean Gene brings up the triple threat match that he inexplicably is wrestling after this match.
A triangle match.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Gene also wonders about Sting's relationship with Luger because, they're friends, and Luger, Sting, and Ric Flair are having their triangle match. Sting says, "Yeah, Luger and I are friends. Macho and I are working on it. Last week got a little heated. We find out later that one of them socked the other." I'd say that's a little bit more than heated.
Yeah, Sting was teasing going heel, I guess.
Yeah. And Sting says, "I love you, Luger, but you said you got to do what you got to do, so do I." And Sting says, "Flair, I'll never forgive you for what you did to me." And Sting says he wants Macho Man so bad he can taste him. So he wants to snap into Randy's Slim Jim, I take it. Well, the next match is Johnny B. Bad's Diamond Doll versus Masa Saito. And the Diamond Doll did a cartwheel, and Johnny B. Bad is back with not one, but two confetti cannons. And then when they're in the ring, the Diamond Doll does another cartwheel. It's like the only thing she knows how to do.
Yeah, she's like full-on cheerleader.
Yeah. So Diamond Doll, she grabs a confetti cannon, and for some reason this excites the shit out of the crowd. And they actually grab the confetti out of the air.
Squirting on everybody.
Like, "Oh, give it to me."
Yeah.
Prior to the match, Sonny Ono, he grabs the mic and says to Nick Patrick, "What is that woman doing here? She should be at home cooking. That's what's wrong with this country. Woman like her." Diamond Doll, not to be deterred, she grabs the microphone.
"Listen here a minute, Hop Sing.
Then she turns to the crowd like, "I got him good."
This ain't no Japanese bathhouse."
And as she said that, she's doing this little ghetto point. She's looking at the crowd the whole time. She's not looking at...
She's really playing up to the crowd. She might as well just turn and stood in front of the crowd and just like left to the side.
Right.
"I ain't no geisha girl.
And still mugging.
And if this sport is just for men, just one thing I want to know. What are you doing here?"
Then she stomps over to Ono and hands the microphone to him. And he, beside himself, she thought she delivered just the sickest burn ever. Sonny Ono, he turns to Johnny B. Bad and says, "Control your woman. We do." And then Johnny B. Bad actually high-fives Diamond Doll.
Like, you got him good.
Yeah.
It's funny that they do this and there was no women's match on this card.
Right.
And they're openly saying, "Oh, it's women's wrestling. We don't need that."
So Johnny B. Bad and Saito have the match, and Saito is fucking badass. He looks like a bulldog.
Yeah, it didn't look like Johnny B. Bad had any business beating this guy.
Right. He shouldn't have.
He looked like, yeah, he was it.
Because he had that same, like, I don't know, dead expression on his face the whole match, but when he would get fired up or change it, it would just be so menacing. And yeah, I wanted to see him win, actually. I was rooting for him.
Yeah, it seemed like this guy was just like, one of those extra gritty. He's wrestling in like a meat locker.
Well, there was one point where he just smacked the shit out of Johnny B. Bad. So he does it back. And then they just start smacking the shit out of each other. And it looked like they legitimately got into a fight.
A slap fight.
Yeah.
Japanese strong style. Yeah, I can't back down now.
Then Saito got him in that headlock and did a little fake nose punch thing. So that's kind of when it broke it for me. Sonny Ono, he chokes Johnny B. Bad on the bottom rope. The crowd tells Diamond Doll to get off her pretty ass and do something, which I thought was kind of funny. She's just standing there like,
Oh, come on, Hop Sing. You can't choke him.
just probably sitting down, eating a hot dog. And the crowd said, get off your ass, bitch, and help him. What are you doing?
And then she just goes over there.
Yeah, that's it. She didn't do anything. She just walked over.
He's like, this isn't part of the script. I don't know what to do.
She just wanted to get a close-up view of him getting us getting a cheap shot.
Yeah. So Ono grabs Johnny B. Bad, and then Saito hits Bad from behind. Then Ono drags Bad over the top rope for a DQ. And I was very confused. Because why would Sonny Ono drag the dude over the top rope if it's going to be a disqualification? So good match, shitty finish. And I know it's all America and stuff, but Saito should have won.
Yeah, that's what I said. There's no reason Johnny B. Bad should have won this, but
Yep.
I get it. You can't go down 3-1. Also, Bad was the champion, so I noticed that they protected their champions and not one of the champions lost.
Yeah.
So there was that.
All right. Well, Mean Gene's backstage with Lex Luger and Jimmy Hart. And Okerlund says, hey, it's tied up. And Hart says, Sullivan cost America. He's got a short fuse, and the Horsemen are in trouble. Luger is flexing and jiggling his titties the entire time.
Yes, he was.
Gene asks Luger about the triangle match, and Luger says, that's what WCW's about. The moment has arrived. Luger, Flair, and Sting are synonymous with superiority. Luger starts talking shit about Macho Man, says he owns him, says he's pathetic, he's a one-arm champion, and he would have torn his arm right off if it wasn't for Sting, his good old buddy. Luger says he has to do it without Jimmy Hart. Hart's like, hey, I'm here for the long run. Don't fuck me here. As soon as you're champion, we're both on top. I'm your manager. Luger says he has unfinished business with Flair, and if he gets into it with Sting, may the best man win. Then the next match is Shinjiro Otani versus Eddie Guerrero. And this was a damn good match. Probably the match of the night. And Dusty said Eddie Guerrero is pound for pound the greatest wrestler in the world right now, which is saying a lot at this point of his career, from Dusty Rhodes to what he actually became. It's pretty phenomenal, to all things considered.
Yeah, we were watching him grow there.
Eddie's little springboard somersault thing was a thing of beauty. And we even saw that his Razor's Edge powerbomb.
Yeah.
What we didn't see, though, is this frog splash. Instead, Eddie tried to do Rey Mysterio's Frankensteiner pin thing, but Otani rolls through it and pins Eddie. Eddie counters that into another pin, but Otani counters that into another pin, and that's enough for the win. And it's worth noting that before Otani missile drop kicked Eddie in the back of the head, and it was brutal.
It was brutal. It was a thing of beauty, too.
Yes.
And then there was one point where Eddie did that, like, over the rope senton thing onto the concrete.
Yep.
Like, there's some good spots in this match. Yes. I agree. It's probably match of the night.
And that's New Japan 3, WCW 2. Mean Gene's still backstage, and this time he's with Macho Man. And he tells Macho Man that it's up to you, then it's up to Sting, hopefully. Gene tries to bring up the triangle match, and Macho Man doesn't want to hear any of that because America is down and the pressure's all on him. Then hopefully the pressure will be all on Sting. Macho Man says he doesn't mind being the underdog and praises Luger for his victory. Then Macho Man shouts, "To infinity and beyond!" and break on through to the other side. Out of nowhere, like he has Tourette's. Then he says, "Tenzan, you can't understand what I'm saying, but I'm coming to get you. Yeah." Gene brings up Hogan, who we learned is suspended, and then brings us to Randy Savage versus Hiroyoshi Tenzan.
Close enough, yeah.
Yeah. Macho Man gets his ass kicked throughout the whole match. The way he sold it made me feel every single bit of it. Just the look of agony on his face. The way he'd kind of curl up. There's one part he even like hugged onto his leg. Like, please.
Was this the guy? One of the guys were doing like karate chops, but he was like, doing like things before the karate chop, like rolling and then chop. Was this the guy, or was it one of the other guys?
I don't know.
Like he'd like move his hands to the side, move his hands to the other side, and then chop. Before like every move, you just do something with his hands and then chop. I don't know. I just thought it was funny.
Macho Man, he takes advantage of a missed moonsault to knock Tenzan into the apron. Macho Man tries to suplex him back into the ring, but can't because of his bad arm. So he ends up kind of dumping him on the top rope. And then Macho Man uses that as an opportunity to hit his elbow drop for the win. That means it's New Japan 3, WCW 3.
Yep, America's tied it up.
USA, USA. Oh.
Who was not on the team.
It was not. I don't understand why. Alex Wright is, but not Hacksaw.
Yeah.
So Mean Gene's backstage again. He takes another opportunity to pimp the hotline. And then he says it's 3-all in the tournament. And then he brings in Ric Flair. Ric Flair is the opposite of Macho Man. Macho Man was all about America's down. We need to all be a team. Yeah, Lex Luger and I, we're wrestling later, but we're all on Team America. We need to get this World Cup. Ric Flair is like, you know what? Fuck that. This is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Me and Luger. Yeah, your little America versus Japan tournament's cute and all, but what the real match is this triangle match. And then after that, whoever faces Randy Savage, who inexplicably is wrestling again later on tonight. The dude has an injured arm and an injured back, and they have him wrestling twice.
Yes. But I see WCW keeps doing this during their pay-per-views. They have like Sting and Luger and Macho Man, some sort of the combination, all wrestling multiple times throughout the night.
Yeah, playing both ways. Yeah. This is weird.
Yeah.
Sting and Luger are facing Flair, and he's fresh as a daisy, is what Rick says. Flair says he's going to win the title and have all the bitches.
And this was a little bit more Ric Flair that we all remember.
Yep.
Like he kept doing the woo while Mean Gene was trying to throw it back to the crew. And he's like, whoa, whoa. Styling and profiling. He's strutting. All's happening. This is where we need.
And up to this point, he's been pretty popular. He's been one of the most popular people on the show.
Yeah, he's one of the aces. Early WCW, we're building around Luger, Hogan, Sting, Macho Man, Ric Flair. Those are like the 5 top guys right now.
Yep. And you can see the people they're trying to build around, like the Eddie Guerreros and the Alex Wrights. And you can see that they're even trying to push some international people.
They are, yeah.
Our next match is Sting versus Kensuke Sasaki. And Sting comes out with an American flag like Duggan, who's not on the team. Sting wins with a Scorpion Deathlock. And I thought it was pretty meh, but Sting's not my favorite, so I'm kind of biased. WCW comes out to celebrate America. Alex Wright and Chris Benoit with America shirts on was funny. Mean Gene presents the Wrestling World Cup and hopes this clusterfuck becomes a Starrcade tradition.
Well, like I said earlier, good concept. I like the idea of it. Just not at Starrcade if that's supposed to be your WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like, I got more of a feel like Super Brawl was going to be a bigger thing than Starrcade.
Well, the World Cup is over, and it's like Starrcade now officially begins. because we have Lex Luger versus Ric Flair versus Sting, and they did a whole like little video package and a build up and everything. But for some reason, this shit is a tag match.
Yeah, it was pretty much a handicap match against Ric Flair at the beginning.
Yeah, and I like how Flair kept fucking with whoever was in the corner to the point where they would try to get to him.
Yeah, and then the
Flair
ref would be like, "You gotta stay on the ring." Like, no, I don't. It's just, we're supposed to all be in the ring.
Yeah. Well, Flair would use the distraction as a opportunity to like hit him in the balls or something.
Yeah, at one point he hits Luger with a chair.
Yeah.
Or, was it Luger or Sting? Either way,
One of
he
them.
hit someone with a chair off of the distraction because the legal man was trying to get in the ring, which he shouldn't have been illegal because it was a triangle match.
That's true. Flair tags in Sting so he can face Luger. Sting and Luger shake hands, and the fans boo it. Both guys beat the fuck out of each other. Sting goes for his Scorpion Deathlock, but Luger grabs the ropes. Luger elbows Sting in the nuts, then hits an atomic drop. Luger hits Sting in the torture rack, and he does that thing where he turns around and bumps the ref, which we're going to see a lot of, by the way. That ref bump, we're going to see a lot of.
Yes.
Flair does his NFL chop to Luger, which always seems weird that you would do that while you're holding a person.
Oh yeah, while he's in the torture rack, he chop blocks.
Yeah. So Flair tosses Sting outside the ring. It's on to Luger. I guess Luger rolled out of the ring. Did he roll out of the ring?
Yeah, he got the chop block. Well,
okay, so he rolled out of the ring.
Torture rack.
And then Flair threw Sting onto Luger. And then Flair wakes up the ref to count Luger and Sting out. And Sting could have made it, but Luger grabbed his arm for some reason.
Yes.
And then Sting and Luger just pouted each other. And then Jimmy Hart hooks his wagon to the Flair train because he's a whore.
He's about to be in the main event.
Yeah. Main event it is. Ric Flair versus Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ric Flair's still in the ring. Didn't even leave the ring from the previous match. So that's how fast this happens.
Right. Bruce Buffer gives a hell of a match introduction. Paul Orndorff comes out with a neck brace to watch. The Horseman tried to kill Paul Orndorff. Eventually, the security tells him to leave. So I don't know why he came out. And future Monday Night Nitros will explain that.
They mentioned it, I think. Yeah, one of the Horsemen did something with.
He got pile drived and it broke his neck. I'm sure something will come up of it, but I don't know if we'll actually see it. Yeah,
we won't see it. That seems like a TV payoff.
Right. Flair gets hit with Hart's megaphone and starts bleeding. That's the Flair I remember.
The funny thing is, I was just thinking, where's the bloody Flair? You know, he used to bleed at everything.
Right.
And then, oh, there it is. And boy, was he bleeding.
Yes, he was. Macho Man hits the elbow drop, but Jimmy Hart is literally trying to climb over the referee. So he's in no position to count it. And then the Horsemen come out. Macho Man throws Pillman onto Benoit, and then Anderson nails Macho Man with brass knucks or a roll of quarters or something.
Yes. And meanwhile, Jimmy Hart is still distracting the referee during all this.
Yep.
So it's not a bump. The referee is still conscious. He's just arguing with Jimmy Hart this whole time.
And Ric Flair gets the pin. And because Ric Flair bled too much, he can't do an interview.
Yes, because he was really bleeding.
And that was Starrcade.
It was a good pay-per-view. Again, the concept of the whole thing was good. Just, if this is supposed to be the biggest show of your company, it should just be more, story payoffs is what we should be getting here.
I think this is the worst pay-per-view we've seen so far.
Okay.
But I'm sure we'll see worse. When it's all said and done, this might be one of the better ones in comparison to some of the shit we're going to have to trudge through.
Yeah. The finger poke one.
David Arquette.
Yeah.
Vince Russo.
Yeah. I think that gets towards the end of WCW anyway, so we're going to find out why they went out of business. We're going to get to view it all.
Yep.
It's like, yep, I can see now why WWF started to win.
Yeah, I mean, it was getting really bad. I can't even remember what made me stop watching it.
I would say probably when it got too far off the rails and just like the whole company revolved around NWO.
That was a little extreme.
Like every person on the roster was part of the NWO storyline.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that is Starrcade 95. Our next pay-per-view is WrestleMania 4, right?
yes, next up we got WrestleMania number 4. And then the following week we at WCW we got Super Brawl 96.
And I think WrestleMania 4 is a rematch of Hogan and Andre.
Oh, great. How are they going to top that one?
So the once in a lifetime match happened again. Kind of
Yeah,
like,
they're trying to recapture lightning in a bottle here.
Rock and John Cena.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be such a good pay-per-view, but I know nothing about WrestleMania 4, so there you go. Join us next week for more retro stuff and more wrestling modern stuff. We got the pay-per-view next week of Crown Jewel, and we will see where it goes. And we are on the road to WrestleMania.